Hello my friends and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Master SP Deck Challenge Deck Overviews Part 16. So I think I'm gonna try to hurry this up, and I think I have a way to do it. What I'm gonna do is I'm not really gonna say the card basically the card's effects, which I think I have been doing, but I think I'm gonna try harder not to do that. Because these are older cards, so I feel like a lot of you should already have an idea what they do. And so I'm just gonna basically just say tips instead about the cards. But first of all, before we get into this, please like, share, and subscribe, and consider ringing the notification bell for either regular content or content that you like watching the most, which is pretty much all Master right now. So maybe it doesn't matter if you just want to select all, select the notification bell, and select all just to get it over with. But yeah, and if you want to take a break, maybe for whatever reason, just subscribe to me and not really want to be notified about my videos at all, that's okay. You can do that too. You can do that by selecting the notification bell and selecting none. I know there are people out there who maybe just want to subscribe to me just to be nice, and so you can feel free to do that. Or if you have somebody you know who could just subscribe to me just to give me more subscribers, feel free. I mean, it's not like YouTube's gonna know anyway. I mean, maybe in the grand scheme of things, it would still be helpful getting a lot of views. But right now, I'm really trying to get out the subscribers. That's pretty much it. So if you want to subscribe to me to be helpful, or you want to do a subscribe trade-off, I can subscribe to your channel, and you can subscribe to mine, and maybe we can both just select silence, none on the notifications if we don't care about each other's content. That's fine. But yeah, that's something I was thinking. That's a way you can do it. Maybe you don't want to be notified. I think I have that for maybe some of the people I'm subscribed to. Just subscribe to be nice. Yeah. Anyway. And I mean, you can always look up my channel, or just click on my channel once in a while to see if I did post anything new. And then if you ever want to change your mind, you can. That's the nice thing about this. Anyway, let's go into this. I don't think any of these are that big of a deal. Just looks like another gate. We can get to that later. And then a few issues with some of the events, and a few issues with multiple cursors. I'll show you. So yeah, there you can read that if you want, but I don't really care too much. Yeah. And then what's the notification I didn't see? Oh, this is an old one. Oh, Chinese language option added. Oh, another Chinese. Maybe they already had Chinese, but this more simplified. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, now another gate, so I'm gonna need to get to those eventually, but for now, I'm gonna go through the decks. I think the last one I went through was the very first one. I believe. Hold on. I'm gonna check though. Yeah. Wait, was it the second? It might have been this one. I'll probably remember if it was. Yeah, no, this was with the Elemental and the Armed Dragon. Okay, let's go to the next one. Yeah, so again, I'm not really going to be looking at the effects too much. More just giving tips about why this card is good in the deck. So this is called Gift or Formidable Foe. Is this still the... Nah, it just looks really similar. Yeah, a lot of these first few decks looks really similar because they're all focused on Elemental Hero. So anyway, the deck description reads, it'll be easier to achieve victory in battle by using Battle Fusion against opposing monsters with high attack. If activated when a card like Elemental Hero, Shining Flare, Wingman battles, you can inflict heavy damage to the opponent, including effect damage. Yeah, so I'm gonna tips on the normal monsters. They can be used for battle. You can also use them to go into fusions. You can use them for the fusions to actually call out their names. Or you can use them for the more generic fusions. But if you need to take something out or just have a wall until you're going until you eventually get into polymerization or something that can lead you into polymerization, or you're trying to set up for a polymerization play, or maybe just trying to get them into the graveyard for a miracle fusion, you could maybe like try like using them for offense and defense a little bit until eventually you're able to set up the right plays. Anyway, and he makes a decent wall, and this guy makes decent offense. The other two, yeah. Wing Karibo also can like act as kind of this can basically like you just put this in a fence. You're probably not gonna be taking any battle damage for that turn. So this can at least help you survive for another turn. Which, I mean, there are a few other cards that kind of help you survive for another turn. But this is probably one of your best options, because some of the other options only really help you to survive through one attack. Yeah, because they only work against one attack. Like the Draining Shield and the Hero Barrier. And this one too. Although it doesn't help you survive against the first attack. So if they like just are able to beat you with that first attack that destroys your elemental hero, then it's still game. I mean, but like maybe like if you had in defense, that's a way to maybe ensure that doesn't happen. But if they have something that does piercing, then this may not be very helpful. Anyway, not sure how many piercing monsters they would have though. Again, Bubble Man has a nice special summon. Also, I mean, and mostly like even if they don't have great effects, they're still pretty useful for being able to be used as material. And it's also nice to have a great number of different attributes, because hold on, do you have that again? Yeah, this guy, he calls for different attributes, and your field gets bigger with every different attribute you control. So having a bunch of different attributes is definitely useful there. And of course, Stratos, main guy, that's why you're running to run 2, although if you're playing this deck for real, you'd want to run 3 because he's just so good. Yeah, and then Captain Gold helps you get the field spell, also acts as material or whatever you want to do with him. So he's a little bit better than a terraforming in that sense. You definitely would rather use him than terraforming. That pretty much goes with the same can be pretty much said with like any other like monster that like gets you the archetype of field spell. Like you most of the time you just want to run that. Like if you're only running that field spell, like there's really no reason to run the terraforming over the body, because like hey, like a monster body can be clutch, like especially in decks where you're actually using the these bodies for other reasons. And he also counts as a light attribute, so if you need a light attribute for the Sunrise, although Sunrise already counts as a light attribute itself, so not really that important, but it's still like it can be your light attribute for when actually making him, at least. And actually, wait, maybe not. Nah, there's no reason to summon him if he's just gonna get destroyed. There's really no advantage you gain from that. Like you could say, oh, I put him in the graveyard, but he's gonna go to the graveyard eventually anyway. And besides, like taking up your normal summon for something that's just gonna be destroyed, there's no reason to. Although it does stink if your opponent like chains dispel destruction like later on, and then he just gets destroyed. Though you can set him and then he won't get destroyed. So if like really you don't have a lot of plays, you can always set him to at least protect your life points a little bit, because it only gets destroyed if it was face up. But like by the time it's actually being destroyed at battle, I believe it will be destroyed at battle before its effect activates. So I don't think you have to worry about that. Yeah. Blaze Man gets you the polymerization. Solid Soldier and Liquid Soldier both have some solid effects of their own. Special summoning, drawing cards. Not bad overall. The discard can even get you another elemental in the graveyard, either to summon later off of Monster Reborn, or to use as material for Miracle Fusions. And then if you put Necroshit in the graveyard with the Liquid Soldier effect, you also have that effect in the graveyard. You don't have too many graveyard effects in the main deck, at least. I don't know about in the X deck either, but like not too many in the main deck, so like not really getting too much advantage, but they can still be used as material and whatnot. And then if you don't, and then like maybe in some cases you just have to pick the worst card in your hand to discard, but the draws are always worth having to get rid of a card for. I don't think there's really any reason why you wouldn't want to not have that effect. I believe it's optional though, if for whatever reason you didn't want to activate it. And then Blade Edge, like simple piercing. Polymerization, of course, getting at most of your fusions, and then after you use the polymerization and Miracle Fusion, complements it real well. If you were to have both the polymerization and the Miracle Fusion hand, that's not bad, because then all of the materials I use for polymerization are going to be nice in the graveyard for Miracle Fusion. And it's even better if you use the polymerization and bring out the Sunrise, because then you'll be able to get out Miracle Fusion that way, and you'll probably be able to bring out another fusion after that. Because I mean, chances are, yeah. Maybe occasionally you don't have the right materials, but then like, it probably won't be long until you do. Monster Reborn, again, like special summons monsters, like you always, like special summoning is nice, especially for those to proc effects again. Fifth Hope, yeah, extra draw, always nice. Skydive for that mass destruction. Cyclone Boomerang for the mass back row destruction. Like, I remember I was actually able to like do some nifty things, destroy my own boomerang, and I was able to win that way because I just destroyed. Well, I'm not sure if it really mattered destroying all spells and traps, but like that's still pretty nice. Like, just to make sure you, if you can like destroy them before you go into battle phase, it's pretty nice too. But like you can even destroy it using the Sunrise's own effect, since it doesn't require you to have to target something on your opponent's field only. So that's a way to proc it. Skyscraper, in case you need to beat over bigger monsters, though it won't be able to get over there's a limit, so you won't be able to beat over like 4,000 attack with 1,000 attack monsters, so there's a limit, but it's still pretty nice. Still pretty nice they have the option. Defusion, returning material. This is pretty nice if you used Stratos for like a material for a fusion summon, because then you can like summon the Stratos back and then like get its like search effect again. And if your fusion's about to be destroyed anyway, might as well put it back in. Like, at least you'll have more bodies. I don't think there's really any like fusions in here that have an effect when they're sent back to the fusion decks or X deck. So it's not really gonna help there, but it's still useful in other ways. Battle fusion, allowing you. Oh yeah, this was the new one they were talking about. So it allows you to. It's another way to beat over a monster, basically. But like, it's better than Skyscraper because in case you're going against something with really big attack, it can still beat over it. Draining Shield, I already talked about that. Elemental Burst. This unfortunately doesn't allow you to just tribute off Electrum, even though he does count as all of those attributes, because it says one each. And so you can't just tribute one monster with multiple attributes. It has to be one each. So this is actually kind of difficult to activate. But if you can, like, you get to destroy your cards. But you kind of want to be careful making sure you don't, like, just, like, tribute off a lot of your big guys. Maybe you could do it if your opponent's about to activate Raigeki and they have a lot of, like, stuff on their field. Although I'm not sure my opponent plays Raigeki. But yeah, I guess, like, in some cases, but like in most cases, you want to try to tribute off as many of your little guys as you can. If you can even activate this card. And then Hero Signal, like Stratos, nice. Getting out Stratos, getting the search. You could also bring out Blaze Man, or you could just search Blaze Man with Stratos. Most of the time, Stratos is the right pick. Final Fusion is another new card though. So you just negate the battle, and then you just have each player take damage. This could be a pretty nice way of like getting game on your opponent. Although you want to be careful not to like not to run out of life points yourself, because I think I'm not sure if this would be a tie if both players went to 0 because of this, or if you would lose first. But it does say it kind of seems like simultaneously, so maybe it could be a draw, which could still like have like if it is like that, that can still be good in and of itself. If you were like on the verge of losing anyway. Although both players need to have a fusion monster. So, I mean, I think against the opponent's deck they probably will, but like normally I don't think there's gonna be necessarily gonna be a lot of fusion decks they're gonna be playing against. Fusions are probably one of the like least popular types, and even if they weren't, well, I mean, I don't know, like maybe if they were more popular it would be worth playing. You could always give your opponent one of your fusions, but then that's a lot of work. I mean, it could be worth it, like, and then you can just, yeah, because like, when a fusion monster you control bows, so like you can, and then you can just have your fusion ballot, so you can just proc it yourself that way. Steam Healer for extra gaining, in case you're wanting to win by effect damage that like affects both players, or you just need some gaining of life points. Marina, dealing extra damage. It's probably going to be pretty easy to activate it too. All you need to do is set a card. Though I don't think this works if you try setting a field spell, since it doesn't count as being in the spell and trap zone. Which is kind of annoying how that works, just in my opinion. Flame Wingman, extra damage again. Unfortunately, if you're going to be negating the attack with this, it's not going to be destroying the monsters, so you can't just combine the two effects. Thunder Giant destroying something. Rampart. Another way to get a direct attack. Yeah. But it's even easier because, like, I mean, it's less damage, but, I mean, most of the time you're probably gonna be able to direct attack with this. So, like, yeah, I think this may beat out. Although this does have the, advantage of having higher defense. Having higher stats than this. So this is probably gonna be beat over quicker than the Rampart Blaster. Dark Bright, destroying something, and also does piercing, so that's cool. Like, once it's done fighting, you get to destroy something basically. Grand Merge, cheat out a fusion. Maybe try not to cheat out a fusion that you want to use for its fusion summon effect. But there's a lot of good ones that don't really like need to be fusion summoned for a really nice effect. I mean, even this guy doesn't really like need to be fusion summoned for a really nice effect. I mean, it's kind of crazy how he just works, because like this just says when spec summon. It's kind of like they knew about the Grand Merge. They probably did, like, and so they were like, let's just make it spec summon instead, so that like you can still get it if you cheat out, which is pretty nice. Also, it works if you just like Monster Reborn. Actually, you can't really Monster Reborn this because it has to be fusion summon. Shining Flare, Wingman, extra stats, basically a better Flame Wingman because it also has that same effect damage. Though it can have higher attack. Just don't pay attention to that has lower base stats, because it's gonna... Actually, it does even have lower base stats. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, Tempest. Protection. Wild Edge. Multi-attack if you really need to get rid of a board. Kind of like a Raigeki in a way. One of those mass destruction cards in a way. As long as you can take them all out with this guy, which shouldn't be too difficult. I mean, because he has some decent attack. I mean, especially if you combine it with Sunrise. You should be able to take them all out. And the cool thing is, like, you take them all out with this guy, and then you can just attack directly with all the rest. So that's kind of cool. And then Wild Wingman allows you to destroy a spell or trap, which is nice because you could just destroy the boomerang again since it's not restrictive on whose. And more destruction. Another way to cheat stuff out. Still have a lot of targets with this. And then this can just gain a bunch of attack. And it's a really nice pairing with the Sunrise because, hey, like, it's a lot of attributes. This guy cares about you having a lot of attributes. And doesn't mind if it's all on the same guy. Boom.
Still going.
And it can gain even more attack itself, so it's probably going to be pretty hard to take out, which is good because you don't want a guy with a lot of attributes giving your whole field a buff to be taken out super easily. Not bad. Okay, let's go to the next deck. Okay, I think I'm getting through this a little bit fast. I'm not sure, but I'm trying. This deck is called Utmost Respect. And the deck description reads: a deck that uses Cyber Dragon as a key card to call forth powerful monsters from the X deck. There are many ways to launch powerful attacks, such as the 2 attacks of Cyber Twin Dragon, summoned by Power Bond, but attacking cards on the opponent's field haphazardly poses its own risks. Proceed through the battle while keeping reserves for later. See, of course they're gonna have another semi-fusion deck because you as a player are playing a a trap card that wants both players to have a fusion, so they're not gonna want to make it difficult. Anyway, hers. It's a really nice search. And you can even activate both effects on the same turn. The going up to level 5 can make it really easy to exceed summon, and then you can just send it to the graveyard as material and still get the graveyard effect. So it's overall just really nice. And then Cyber Pharaohs, it's a fusion summon body all in itself. Also gives you a way to add another fusion spell, like probably one of the best ones that just give the fusion monster double its attack, which can be pretty easy game with the restriction of, I mean, with the downside of it, like you losing life points. But I mean, as long as it's smart about it, that's not really that big of a deal. Well, as long as my opponent's smart. I'm not sure if my opponent would be smart, but I mean, I'm assuming that they're gonna know how to activate Power Bond. Naxter, special summons another machine. You could choose to, actually, if you choose to special summon hers, only that will become level 5. But I mean, you'll still be able to get the graveyard effect. You could just use them as link material, if you can't go into Exceed. So it's not too bad. Core. This can be special summoned off of, actually, I thought it was on normal or special. Oh well, I guess like it's, I mean, it's still on normal summon. They probably just did that so like you couldn't just like abuse. I mean, you wouldn't be able to really abuse it with machine duplication anyway, since its effect is a hard once per turn. They really just didn't want to allow you to like just special summon it with the card and then get its effect that way. Although it still has a pretty nice graveyard effect. However, if you use a normal summon effect, you can't use the graveyard effect. And you wouldn't only be able to use this to get out the original Cyber Dragon, since these don't count as Cyber Dragons while in the deck. Zwei. See, this one only counts while in the graveyard, so this is probably one of the weaker ones. So it's probably good that has a weaker effect on top of it, like, because like you're probably not gonna play this, like, just making its name become Cyber Dragon. Just play the ones that already are Cyber Dragon on the field as well. There's so many that have that effect, like you don't need him. Dre just makes all Cyber Dragons level 5, but again, it's only on normal summon, so if you special summon out with Naxter, you won't be able to do it, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. Yeah, and then you can just like, and then also like gives protection when it's banished. I'm not sure how you, I mean, actually like some of the fusion spells banish it, so maybe you can like offer some protection for a fusion monster to your fusion monster that you summon, which is good. Which is good. I'm not sure if Power Bond banishes. Let's see. Maybe if you can get a banish with Power Bond. There it is. Yeah, so maybe if you can get a banish with Power Bond, and you can do that by activating Cyberdyne Fusion Sport first. And then you can make sure that whatever you fusion summon off of Power Bond, basically has an easier time staying on the field, because if not, like, you may be like taking a bunch of damage because you weren't able to go for game because you were hoping that the fusion would, or at least my opponent was hoping that the fusion could finish off for them. That's mainly the reason you want to play Power Bond, unless my opponent was just desperate and really needs to get rid of a few of the monsters. But mainly they're using it to go for games so they don't have to worry about the damage at the end. since that can be some pretty big damage. And then this one gives everything extra 5 on attack, but mainly you're just using it so that you can like special summon it from your hand. This is I don't know. I mean, this is pretty nice. Like, you can I don't know. Like, if you like know summon this first and then special summon this, like, you would have to make everything level 5 before you special summon this. That kind of stinks. But I mean, it's still good. Like, you get an extra body. Like, that's not a bad thing. Cyber Dragon, also pretty good. Depending on you not really controlling a monster, but there's no machine duplication, so you can't mess around with that. But like, still not bad. Like, you don't necessarily need to put them on the field, because a lot of these just like say like, hey, just fusion summon using monsters from your hand, which is usually how it is with fusion spells. Although some fusion spells work differently. Monster Reborn again. For a lot of these have when they're normal summon effects, so you won't be able to get those effects again. However, I believe the fusions don't have as much of a restriction as the fusions inside of Elemental Heal, but usually I think they have. Yeah, see, this only has like that, like fusion summon control card is sent to your graveyard, so you won't be able to get that special summon if you just special summon it. Though this one, like, it's still pretty useful if you just Monster Reborn it. So is this card, like. So I think really the only fusion that kind of stinks, just like special summoning out, and maybe not entirely stinks, because it's still I mean, it's still pretty good with its 4,000 defense. And it will still like be able to have its like protection effect live. So not bad. And then yeah, see, a lot of these like, even if you special summon, they're not too bad. Like, except for the Exceeds, since they won't have their. I mean, even the Exceeds aren't too bad. If you just simply like special summon Infinity again, you can always just like start attaching material to it using opponent's monsters as material, as long as they're an attack. My opponent would be able to. And then if they go for a monster reborning out this card, they still get that effect where they're allowed to special summon a machine fusion out of the X deck. So that's cool. Different dimension capsule. Basically a worse version of Gold Sarcophagus, I think, because I think Gold Sarcophagus also says 2 turns. But Gold Sarcophagus banishes it face up, not face down. But since a lot of these cards, I mean, it doesn't really help with. There's like one card that actually cares about it being banished. So you'll lose out on that, but most of the time it doesn't really matter. I think with Gold Sarcophagus, it's a monster only, and this is like any card, so there's where it does gain a little bit of that positive. And Power Bond, I think I talked about that. It's just a fusion spell basically, with some upside but also some downside. Evolution Burst to destroy something could be good if you need to make way for your fusion going for game, since like this one can just be direct attack. So if your opponent only has one monster, like, you can still destroy and then go in for 2800 2 times, or just like go for game if you have Power Bond. So maybe like you need him. Although it doesn't actually count as Cyber Dragon itself, so you would need to have Cyber Dragon first and then go for the fusion, I guess. or just have the Cyber Dragon out after you go for the fusion. But it's probably easier to do it the former way. Cyber Emergency to search for one of your monsters is a little bit. Oh wait, it can just be a Cyber Dragon monster, so it can be really any of these. Cyber Dragon Core isn't a bad pick though, since it can just search for another one of your Cyber Speller Traps. Cyber Rev System. This is pretty nice since it is basically Monster Reborn just for your graveyard, but with upside, since you're only playing Cyber. Well, it will only be able to get out the ones that are treated as Cyber Dragon while in graveyard. So like most of your X deck is pretty much off limits, except for the Seeger, which is pretty nice. Seeger still has a pretty good effect. Super Strident Blaze. Yeah, this can offer a little bit more protection to your fusion. Also, it offers multiple attacks, which I think would stack with like the fusions that already have multi attacks. Like if you attack a monster, you'd be able to attack again because of Super Strident Blaze. I think you'd still be able to attack again because of the fusion effect, although I'm not too sure. And then Future Fusion, a little bit nerfed. Now it's gonna take even longer. But, I mean, really, like, it's still really good if you can, like, pull off, like, sending materials to the graveyard, since you can just pick this one and then send a bunch of materials, which is probably the way you want to do it, since a lot of these guys have graveyard effects also. Defusion, again, like, just like the hero deck. It is unfortunate that a lot of your main deck guys won't be able to regain their on summon effects, since a lot of them are just on normal summon, and this is a special summon. Although again, like, still useful to if your fusion guy is about to be destroyed anyway, and it's also useful if you bring back hers, and then at least you can get the sense of graveyard effect again, and then recycle some of your Cyber Dragons. Well, at least things that say Cyber Dragon while they're in the deck of the graveyard. Limit removal in case the attack gain of Power Bond isn't enough. Also, if you have a bunch of machines on your field, and this is actually pretty nice with defusion. Though it does say currently controlled, so you want to probably use defusion first and then use limit removal. But this could easily get you like even more attack gain. Like use like actually defusion is even better. It's like not bad in like an OTK deck, since if you weren't able to get it done with the fusion, then maybe you can defusion, especially if you have limit removal also, since that's also something you can just activate during the battle phase, my opponent. So maybe they can get it done with the defusion monsters, since this doesn't restrict my opponent from special summoning them in attack. Although it's only activatable if they were sent to the graveyard, not the ban zone. Make sure you are fusion summoning. Just one thing I want to say, but though my opponent would probably know, like, only to activate this they're about to fusion summon, because this can actually be activatable even if you don't go in for a fusion monster. And this is actually kind of dangerous when activating this and also Power Bond at the same time, because now instead of you having 8,000 to work with, you now only have, or my opponent would now only have 4,000. So basically any of the fusions would kill them at that point. Battle fusion, Again, like, same thing. Although it is really nice for them since, like, this could help with the OTKing. Cyberload, they could potentially go for multiple fusions, and that can be really dangerous since a lot of their fusions have potential to OTK. Since this one can deal piercing, this one can attack multiple times. This one doesn't really have like as much OTK potential, but it's still nice. Like it has some nice effects still. This is more like if they're like going first and they want to set up a more defensive fusion. Cyber Eternal. Yeah, this can just special summon it. But you can also return, they can also return to the X deck if they just so desire. I'm not sure if they'd rather just send it back to the X deck though. I mean, I think you might as well just like, they might as well just summon it because like most of the time it's not really gonna matter. But yeah, it does offer some protection as well. Final fusion. Yeah, again, like same thing. Although what is kind of cool is if my opponent could deal one attack with their Cyber Twin Dragon, not negate it, and then on the second attack they do negate it, like depending on how they want to like go for the battle phase. So maybe with this effect damage can like finish them off. It is combined. Oh, it's combined attack though. So that can get really dangerous if they're targeting a power bond. But like if they're targeting a power bond, most likely they might just lose too. Although like if they're only dealing like 6,000, like if they're dealing like less than 8,000 damage, then they could, and they were at full life points anyway, they could easily just get game still. So that actually is quite dangerous for me. Cybernetic Overflow can just destroy a bunch of things. This can like act as a way to maybe like get them back from being behind if their like original OTK plan didn't work. Also, if it happens, this will be destroyed by a card effect, which I do have a few ways to do that. They just get to add something, although that's just like more of a bonus effect and not like the whole part of it, so that's not bad. Another way is special summon a fusion, although this is more like to special summon, probably more to go on the defense since it can't. Well, unless my opponent's able to just like get game without having to attack directly again. It is destroyed during the end phase, but that can just proc this effect. Oh, it has to be by an opponent's card. Yeah. I guess this does work pretty well with. Oh wait, no, that's only for opponent only. Yeah. Another way to destroy. This basically allows to proc the one Cyber Dragon that can help protect the fusions. So I guess that's cool. Also, it can like special summon a bunch of the banished light machines out, which can be triggered preemptively if my opponent has a way to destroy it without its own effect, because it doesn't have to be sent from the field to graveyard via its own effect. Though it does destroy all spells and traps, so my opponent may want to be wary of that. Which is also pretty nice, like if I just destroy it preemptively, because maybe I'm able to get like a bunch of their spells and traps to be destroyed before they wanted their spells and traps to be destroyed. And then the fusions, most of them are OTK potential, though this one has like more defensive measures, protections, stuff like that. Also a nice 4,000 defense, which is going to be pretty hard to get over. Cyber Dragon Nova, just giving extra stats to a Cyber Dragon. Unfortunately, oh wait, it can target itself, my bad. Also, it gets a special on a fusion. So like if it's during their turn, maybe one of the more aggressive, and then if it was during my turn, maybe the Eternal Dragon. Cyber Dragon Infinity can just like negate stuff and then just scoop up my monsters as material, which is kind of annoying. And then Sega is also another way to give extra stats even to itself. But at least it has the decency of not dealing bow damage, just at insult injury. So that's nice. But still, like, just like being able to like beat over high attack monsters can be good in and of itself. Especially if they wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. If they're not really caring about going for game maybe and just want to beat over a high attack monster, high defense monster, whatever. It's also good because it's a quick effect too. Anyway, so there's that. So there's the opponent's deck. Let's see. Okay, yeah, and I have plenty of time now. That was pretty good. So now I have plenty of time to go into pack opening. Yeah, I think I'm still only gonna do 2 at a time though, even though that did take quicker. But yeah, I think this new plan of mine is working. Just took a little bit longer on the hero, but then I made up for that by like not taking as long with the Cyber Dragon deck. So that's nice. Yeah, let's go for, maybe I can do both the Legacy and the 2023 Special Reward today. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the Legacy, or maybe I can do the, do that kind of thing like tomorrow, since I'm probably gonna be, having less Legacy packs to open next time. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll save the reward tickets for tomorrow. Because I don't think they're going to go anywhere. Ooh, I got Morphing Jaw. That's not a bad one. I don't think this really is being used very much. But, like, you never know when it could see play. And then another Utopia Ray Victory. That could be nice. Gale Dogra can be nice for if I need to send extra monsters to the graveyard. Grave Protector. Yeah, I don't know if this is really that good, because most of the time Macro Cosmos or Dimensional Fissure or a Dimension Shifter can kind of accomplish the same thing without them needing to be stored by battle. Because most of the time, like, banishing the cards is like, can be just as like useful as like shuffling them into a deck. Although there are occasions when like shuffling back into deck is better, but like this is only one that's short anyway, so not really that great. Destiny of Diamond Dude, pretty cool card for being able to use normal spells without the restrictions. Another bear statue, so that's nice, and it's a new one, so I'll take it. Shield Wing, hollow, not bad. Sublimation Knight. This is really good, I think, for Infernoid, so not a bad pickup at all. Peking Goblin, 5-star Twilight. Useful for the Kribo deck, so I'm glad I got that in case I ever want to go for that. Exchange of Spirit, actually not too bad now that the Shizu cards like also gain advantage off of this, although a lot of like the times you're not even really playing the exchange with the Shizu cards Having another M duck, I mean, I already had over a playset. Souza's not bad though. Souza's a pretty good card for X-Sabers. And then he has a bunch of rares and stuff. Ooh, a Hollow Thessalos, not bad. This was pretty good back in the day at Frog Monarch. Though I think there are just better Monarchs nowadays. Light Rays. I kind of like these cards. Like, they're just have fairly easy summoning conditions in light decks. Yeah, they have to be special summoned while you have enough light monsters out banished, but that's not too hard to accomplish if you have like a light-based banish deck. So yeah, they could maybe occasionally see use. Blue Mountain Buzz Spy. I think this was a pretty good card where, like, when you're playing with like other level 4 warrior monsters. Jin Demolish of Rituals. Not as good as that other Jin that just stops special summons whenever it's using materials as material. Caribe, I got a Caribe. How many Caribe? Oh, that's my first one. And it's a hollow. I'll take it. Offerings to Doom, pretty nice card back in the day when there weren't a lot of like really good removal cards. Just really nice because especially it being a quick effect as well. Let's see. Defend the Labyrinth is pretty good for normal base decks, although there aren't a ton of those running around. Sacred Crane, pretty nice for just being able to draw cards because you can just use it again and again. If there was a way to like loop this special summon, like you could just draw a ton of cards, but like that's not really too easy right now. Although maybe if like in the future you're able to somehow do that, it could be really nice. Elemental Voltic can help you bring back your banished Elemental monsters. I mean, it's useful for like whatever you banish off the Miracle Fusion. Let's see. Aquactress Guppy. It's kind of cool that this is like a level 2 monster. I was thinking maybe I could use this with sprites, but like the Nimble Beaver is better since it can like special summon more copies of itself from like other locations. Although this is a lot better in an Aquactress deck, and I was maybe thinking like I could like make like an Aquactress sprite deck since like this is level 2, but I'm not sure how good that would be. But it is, I mean, anything with a level 2 can be thought of as like maybe like you could like combine it with sprites. You could definitely combine with frogs though, since it's also water that you can like discard if you need to. Also, I think it can be like, I think it may only be unknown summon. Hold on, I need to see. Is this only unknown summon? The Aquactress card. Oh, I got 3 now. Yeah, so no, it's not only unknown summon. So yeah, you could just like send to graveyard, and then if you have a way of special summoning it from the graveyard, you can still use that effect. So yeah, not bad. Few normals, not really like too much of a note there. Although I guess if you wanted to play like with like level 2 normals and like a sprite deck, you could do that, and then take advantage of the cards that like want you to be playing normals. Skull Dice, a pretty popular Joey based card. Destruction of Destiny, pretty useful for like people who want to just like inflict enough damage themselves. But like it doesn't really see play outside of those like self TK decks, as like people like to call them. No, it's a different Blackwing card. I was 6 Shinobi, pretty cool if you can pull it off, but it is pretty hard restrictions However, at least you can like search for it with trap trick and some other cards that search for like traps or normal traps. So there's that. Yeah.
Okay, Stan replied to my letter.
Yeah. Although it does also kind of stink that you can't skip the current turn. You have to basically set this, and then you can only skip the next turn after your opponent's already in their turn. So it has to be the next turn, that next turn after that. Like, so you can't really just set. So even if you could activate this on turn 2, you're not skipping them until turn 4. So that's another thing that kind of stinks. Yeah. Maybe if it was like if it said skip your opponent's current turn, I'm not sure if it would be too broken, but I mean, it might see play then, but I mean, as it is, nah, I don't know. This has a lot of like struggles. But yeah, there's the there's the pack opening. And I also did the deck overviews. So thank you everyone who stayed for whatever sections you did, whether it was the pack opening and the deck overviews. And of course, if you didn't stay long enough to hear my thank yous here, you can always go back, or you can always let your friends know, whoever has stayed this long, like them know that like, hey, I always post them in the description too, so if you miss it, it's not that big of a deal. And also I'm posting the verse in the description as well as the verse discussion and pinned comments. So anyone who wants to like leave their comments on the verse has a nice place to do so, and maybe to share their thoughts based on what other people say. You can like leave as many comments as you want. You can also like edit if you thought of something else and you don't want to just leave a new comment. That's fine too. Oh, I didn't even see this go card. Hollow. Cool. Anyway. So yeah. That'll do it for today's video though. I hope everyone enjoyed. Bye.